Kevin is this person who is on a mission to make the world a better place through tech. One thing that I always say I would tell my younger self is you don't have to get it all figured out in the first instance. You don't have to know all, you do not need to have connected all the dots for you to get a bigger picture. And they say the best way to impact and get people is to form the AWS AIML user group Kenya.
So what is your big win that you're proud of till date? Could be a moment or anything. And what did it take to get there? What did it feel like? What did the grind feel like?
Love that question. Thanks so much for that point. It got me to remembering that day on the September of 18th, 20. My lowest moment was when I missed government sponsorship to join campus and do computer science. I missed it by 2 points.
Ever wondered what it really takes to make it in tech? Or what's next in the digital world? You're about to find out. So welcome to Kira Tech Hub, whereby we'll be cutting through the noise to bring you the authentic stories, some actionable insights, and everything you need to navigate your tech journey. I'm your host, Paulina Mokira, and today we'll be kicking it off with our very own amazing guest, Kevin. The name might be familiar to you or not. So why don't you stick around and find out? And if you love these stories, hit the subscribe button, like, and share with anyone that is chasing their tech dreams. So let's jump right in.
Awesome. Hello, Kevin Tuei. It's nice to have you around.
Hi.
I'm excited
Nice to
for
have you
this
here.
conversation. Yeah.
Exactly.
So for me, if I'm told to describe you, I'll just say this is a friend of mine. We'll joke around and throw lots of banter out here. But on other places, LinkedIn, Kevin is a big name in tech. Top cloud computing voice in Kenya. Big name. So for those who don't know you, and you can even just imagine I don't know you, who are you? Who do you say you are? What do you do? And why is what you do important to you? So you can just start with that to guide the conversation.
Yeah, so who do you do? Thanks so much for that, Pauline. Happy to have you here. That it's a big deal also for me, not just as being the first in cloud computing in LinkedIn, but being the first guest for you. That means that there's not going to be any other first, right? So happy to be here with you.
I know.
And yeah, it's just an honor when you called upon me to do this, and I was like, let's do this. So just for me, in terms of who am I? I love the question how you framed it. Who am I? What do I do? And why do I do what I do? Basically, who I am, and I love how we do it because most of the time when people introduce themselves, they put in their titles and what they do for a living, but that is not who they really are. For me,
Yeah.
Kevin is this person. Yes, exactly. I agree with you. Kevin is this person who is on a mission to make the world a better place through tech. Whether I'm going to do Power BI tomorrow or tomorrow, the other day, I'm going to be doing something like doing back HTML. I don't know whether we are going to be having an apocalypse with AI and then come back and start doing things all over again and start dealing with Pascal. But anything through tech that I'm going to be doing and it makes the world a better place in a way, that's me. So what do I do? Basically, I'm that person who morphs. Like last year, I was big on things like cloud and cybersecurity. This year, I'm getting bigger and bigger on AIML. Reason being is it's not really about following the trend, right? It's about how best can you move with technology so that you are not in the Stone Age revolution and people are in the Industrial Revolution, or you are not in the technological on the automation side of in the Industrial Revolution and you are still in the other century. So that is, and why do I do what I do? So basically right now I'm still a cloud consultant, but I'm focusing a lot on AIML. I also do a number of different trainings and consultancies. And apart from that is why do I do what I do? I love, and I know this is going to come up, is I love empowering people. Empowering people in a way that they are going to have the tools and skills to now continue making the world a better place. Because I love this one thing that I read from a certain leadership book, and it says that you're not a leader unless you're able to produce other leaders, like you multiply your leadership. So if you're a
Nice.
leader of followers, that is less impact. But if you can multiply or compound your effect into more leaders, then definitely. And this, if what I do does that and makes me have my ikigai, then definitely I'll do that.
Perfect. Nice. That was a so good introduction. I love that you're not a leader if you cannot create other leaders or something. Now, Kevin, so make the world better through tech. I think our visions are kind of aligned in a manner because,
Aligned, definitely.
for myself, I also want to make up the world a better place through tech, and I do that through my own trainings. So I think that is something we are aligned on.
Really aligned.
So,
Definitely. I agree.
Kevin, anytime hear your name, one word comes to my mind: community. Any talk I have, come if Kevin is talking about something, I'll always hear community. Maybe just let us know why is this term so common for you, and also why is it important? Why is community important? And maybe you can just start from what brought you into that particular place where you thought having a community around you would be important, especially in tech. So over to you.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I love the fact that yes, you say about community. Sometimes people think that you get deliberate and you start doing things about community, but more often than not, you accidentally find yourself you are doing things in community. If you tell me, Kevin, can you point in that particular place in history when you joined community? I cannot even tell. And that particular point when people got to know you about community, you cannot tell. But one thing that makes people grow, and I realized because, like, from recent, after I went to reInvent in Las Vegas last December, I said I don't want to remain with all the things, all the goodies that I got out of there, with all the things, all the goodies that I got out of there. And they said the best way to impact and get people is to form the AWS AIML user group Kenya. Not that there are no user groups in Kenya, but I realized that that is the only way I can share impact. And what you realize is that for community, most of people think about the volunteering. They think you're doing a lot of things for free, but the thing is that it always comes back to you. It always comes back to you in a way. But I remember regardless, for example, like for the AWS community, I was just doing my own thing. For example, like the way we are doing these podcasts, I was just training people and recording a bit of it on YouTube. And then I saw AWS Community Build application. I didn't even know the requirements. Sometimes people fail on the first instance simply because they just throw in something there. And I just throw in some of
Victim.
my YouTube recordings. Yes. So you'll tell us how you failed the very first time. But I just threw in like 2 videos from my Cloud Foundations course that I was providing. Somewhat like thank God I got in. And once I got in, I realized, okay, I thought I was going in maybe for the AWS credits and a bit of perks. But then again, I realized that there's a lot to community. And that is when I learned more about community and I became more engrossed into community. Right now, apart from AWS community, I lead an Atlassian community. I lead a HashiCorp user group. I'm a Cisco Insider champion, have a Huawei community. Sometimes I even don't keep track of all the communities. Nairobi DevOps community. I hope I'm not going to miss mentioning some, and then they see these podcasts, they'll be on my neck like, Kevin, why didn't you
You did not
mention us?
mention us.
Cloud for Sky, Resource Cloud Academy. I can't even start mentioning all of them. But if I miss any,
On
I'll
behalf
just
of
remember that
the
I know you. Yeah.
on behalf of
On
the
behalf
ones
of
who
the
are not
forgotten.
mentioned, I
Yes.
apologize on behalf of Kevin.
Amen. Awesome.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
see you interacting with all these communities. Why is it
Yes.
important, especially because for a person getting into tech, majority of the tech people are, let me not say introverted, but we just like to be in our own space with our own laptops.
Yes.
Why do you think it's important for us? Why are you pushing us to try and join these communities? Any benefits, or it's just for the perks?
No, definitely. There's this amazing article that I wrote about 3 ways of building a community without a title, and then I actually I wrote it on community.aws, and then I did a talk on it for AWS Pancration Japan as the first Kenyan there. And then I think what was it? I did an article and I did also a talk on it. So it went full circle. Can you imagine? You have one piece of content, you do a blog on
Yeah.
it, you present at it, and then you do an in-person talk at it. And then it was also featured on the AWS News blog by one and only Beliswa. And what I said on that thing of 3 ways of building a community without a title was you need to just audit the communities you join. What I mean is there are very many people who come with things they call communities, but they are one man, one woman shows. It's basically for them. There's no like you coming in and bringing your style and something of that sort. And the other thing I
Okay.
said is don't join and stay silent. I know you said about introverted, but the most important thing that is required is you don't have to be given like social media poster or technical writer in that community. You just need to put yourself out there in terms of, can I do this? Ask a question, be supportive. The last thing was, as you do, Pauline, you're big on this. You're big on building in public. You share about, sometimes I think there was a time the algorithm was just on you. You could not post anything on LinkedIn and I forget. I cannot see it like the way, and I love the way you should tell us where you went. You should tell us where you went. You went to do that photo shoot. I don't know that it was this exact that you're currently having, but you're doing. I love that pose and the way it appears on a YouTube thumbnail. You'll not want not to click on that YouTube thumbnail. Yeah,
Interesting.
basically that
Thank
is
you.
it. Yeah, yeah, appreciate it.
Okay. So people should build in
Yeah,
public, in that manner, join communities that actually matter, audit, just don't join any community.
yes, I agree.
Yeah, that is where we make connections. Majority of the important connections we get from that. Now, I want to take you far back, far back, far back. So, growing up,
Hmm.
what is it that sparked your interest in tech? Right now, you are on a big
Hmm.
mission, but was there a moment, was there a person that made you think, okay, this is my path, or what happened? How did you get into tech?
I loved computers from when I was in class six. I was privileged to be in a primary school that had these CRT monitors and one, two, or three computers that people could go in and check. And I used to just open it and getting to hear it make the noises as it turns on and shows Windows 95 or Windows 98. Then it is doing the window is doing this. It's like a flag of sorts. That's when I realized I
Yeah.
love computers. Then I went to high school, did computer studies, and actually I was waiting. The way you have to wait until form two, the second form,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to choose your subjects. So I was doing French, I was doing business studies. I couldn't wait to drop them, although I was very good with them. At some point, I wanted to. I'm actually going back to French, and I'm doing Duolingo. I want to see. I want next time I go to West Africa, I do a la rimado on them, and I say bonjour, ça va, bonsoir, and merci beaucoup, et toi, and all those different kind of things. But yeah, so that is how I got into like tech at the earlier, but I didn't even know I'm getting into tech. Then
Mm-hmm.
when I got to campus, I was so bored about the fact that there was no much challenge. To say the
Yeah.
truth, the lecturers were class. You could get into class, then go back to your hostel, do a cut, do an end semester exam, then the cycle all returns. But right now, there are so many vibrant communities in Kenya. There's GDSC, MSLE, and AWS Cloud Clubs. You're seeing students do amazing stuff in the community, and just like, if only I could turn back the wheels of time and get born, I would maybe be already a hero of sorts or something. But then again, I realized that those things that I didn't get as in campus, I would still get an opportunity to now make sure that those who didn't like I didn't get that opportunity. Let me give that opportunity to those who are going to be coming. And that is why anytime there's anything regarding students and how they can support, like for example, they had an AWS student community day, called me as a keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I show up on those
Yeah.
events. Actually, I can tell you most of the events that come from students, I don't even ask them anything. I just show up, don't ask them, don't want you
Yeah.
to fuel my car or whatever it is. So that is how I got into tech. Did a lot of web development. Back then was what? Back then you used to do like PHP. You could do PHP my admin and all those different things. But yes, so that is how I got into it. And I can't even tell you, the journey has been awesome. The journey has been super awesome. Thanks to obviously the community.
Interesting. So, as an African in tech, I just wanted to know along your journey, maybe starting out till who you are today, is there any challenge that you faced that maybe, other people might have not faced this? Are there any challenges within your journey? unique to you?
Yeah, so one thing that are unique, I've actually experienced a lot of gatekeeping, like people not giving you enough information. People don't want you to get into your circle, like you to get into their circle so that you can get a bit of influence. Some people even like would not want to collaborate with you. Like you have this community, they say like you should not have even formed that community. You should have come and submitted under our community, which sometimes I usually try to go against that. And if you see the different communities that I'm on, most of the time they are collaborative events. Because what I believe in, Pauline, is you cannot, there
Mm-hmm.
is only to go far, you need to go together. You need to go together with people. The second and final thing, yes, definitely, right? And the second thing that I faced along the way is scarcity of information. Like right now, with ChatGPT and AI and all these different things, getting the right information to get started was very hard. Think of it, whether it's in cybersecurity, whether it's in cloud, whether it's
True.
wherever. You might be having even right now, it's an opposite. There's a lot of information, but people don't know where to get started. And I believe that is why
Mm-hmm.
you're having such a podcast, so that people can learn from
Exactly.
how we are moving, right? How what they face is
Mm-hmm.
the challenges, and then they can know how to really get started. So those are the two things I can say: keeping and really a scarcity of information.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much for that. So when you mentioned that, I also can relate with some of the aspects, especially scarcity of information. Just getting access to the right information might be a challenge. And also, if I think about it, when we want to study and you are on your own, you don't have a community, you don't have anything, even just in terms of funds, certifications, getting information where to
Yeah,
get, as a beginner, it becomes a challenge getting the right resources and so on. Okay, you mentioned young Kenyans, or actually anyone just getting started in tech. So if you could go back to your younger self 10, 15 years back, let's say, what advice would you give you? And what would you say to anyone watching this? They just think maybe I should get into tech. They have already been scared. AI is taking your job. And they're thinking, okay, maybe I should go into tech and learn this AI thing. So what advice would you give to your younger self? And also, what would you say to someone who is just figuring out, am I on the right path? What should I do with my life? Yeah.
that's a very good question. It just got me. It triggered one thing that I'll always say I would tell my younger self is you don't have to get it all figured out in the first instance. You don't have to know all. You do not need to have connected all the dots for you to get a bigger picture. One step at a time. Just look at what the next dot is, connect it, and move on to the next. Just enjoy the process, have the journey. Don't be like, why am I not like Pauline or Kevin, who are like big things? When they post, they get a lot of reposts and all these different things. Don't, because where they are in the journey is not where you currently are. Enjoy the journey, and you'll connect the next dot, the next dot, and the next dot, and you'll be good to go. Because if somebody would have told me this is how I'm going to become, I would have not even stressed or worried too much when I was younger. Advice
Yeah.
to anyone starting out. Agree with you? Right. I love that, Pauline. Advice for anyone starting out is focus. Focus. I know there's something about the tide and saying I was doing this kind of course on intro to cybersecurity. Someone just tells me there's Gen AI foundations. I leave this cybersecurity, I go to Gen AI. Gen AI is a bit of it. Then somebody says, hey, we have this prompt engineering. You stop Gen AI foundations, you go to prompt engineering, and you're going on and on and on, but you're not getting known for anything. You're not building a portfolio. You're not building a niche that people can rely on you and say, Pauline can do AWS cloud training, go to Pauline, because you're
Mm-hmm.
known for that. You're very focused,
Okay.
and you're already shown that you have built a niche on that, and you're so good at what you do. That is what I would tell anyone starting out. Don't be get carried by the tide and try out so many different things. Build out, get to know the basics of that particular area, whether it's networking, whether it's Linux. There's something that cut across, like the technical fundamentals. Get to know them, and then start
Mm-hmm.
building your soft skills, like documenting well, doing good technical documentation, and all those different things. Then finally join a community, because most communities, especially here in Kenya, they have beginner friendly content. What I can tell you, you can get
Yeah.
access to beginner friendly content and beginner friendly sessions, and also opportunities for you to speak, opportunities for you to share your articles, and also opportunities for you to volunteer in events.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That is solid advice. I wish I could also have told my younger self. I am young. Yeah, just thinking about getting started, how the imposter syndrome was hitting up. And right now I'm like, it's all okay. I don't have to know everything. I know what I know. And really cool. Okay, so just thinking about all this, I want you to tell us a win you've had. Maybe it's a project, maybe it's a moment like you're super proud of. And not just the win, but what did it take for you to get there? You know, some people, we only see certificates, gold jacket. He's a community builder. We do not know the process. We don't know what people are doing behind the scenes to get to the win. So, what is your big win that you're proud of till date? Could be a moment or anything. And what did it take to get there? What did it feel like? What did the grind feel like?
Love that question. Thanks so much for that point. It got me to remembering that day on the September of 18th, 2024, when I got that email. Congratulations, you have been accepted to the AWS All Builders Welcome Grant. We want to take you to, you're going to be going to Las Vegas. And it was easier said than done. 2023, I'd gotten a rejection. I had been told, like, sorry, there are better qualifications or people good. And funny thing is, at the start of 2023, I had started out filling my DS-160 to get a US visa at the start of 2023. And I was say like, I was so pumped up. I said like, the world is under my feet. The people should know that I'm the person to get this. Then it had other plans, and actually, I forgot all about it. But at the start of 2024, I also got a hunch to again apply for the DS-160. I started the whole process. Then I realized that there's a part you have to upload your evidence, where you're going to stay, where you are going, and all those different things. I could not do that because I had not even applied for the All Builders Welcome Grant. I wanted to go to reInvent, but I could not show all those evidences, and I could not say that going. So I left that application, and then it obviously expired. But when it came to June, around that time when people apply for the grant, I say this time I'm going to apply different. I'm going to only share things that I've done for the community. I'm not going to share anything about myself. I'm going to share that I spoke at the reInvent recap, even if I've not attended the reInvent recap. I had spoke at all the reInvent recaps in Kenya, Pwani as well as the Nairobi one. I talked about
Yeah.
having spoke at AWS Student Community Day and all these different things that I was doing, not for the sake of the application, but I was doing it because I wanted to build the community. And when I got that email in September, right, that I had been accepted, I didn't know it is a start of another struggle, because it hit me that you have to have a valid US visa, which is also another thing that I remembered. I tried to retrieve the application, and I realized that the US Embassy website tells you that they can only retain an application for 90 days. January 90 days to September was already passed. It was already done. So I had to start afresh. And then that is why Pauline community is very important. And when I applied and I'd written everything and shared why I'm going to return back to the country, I got an appointment for January 7th. And reInvent is in December 1st to 6th, which is crazy because it means that you cannot attend an appointment to attend an event that has already passed. So I talked to Terence Chibire, and I asked him, "Hi, you guy, you went to reInvent. Show us your ways. Tell us what you did." And he told me, relax, my guy. Let me tell you how you're going to do this. You're going to be, I'm going to help you. I'll be checking for opportunities. Sometimes the appointments open up, and once it opens up, I'm going to get you to get the appointment. Then he told me many tips for passing the interview. And when I went there, it was a breeze. I was actually seeing people getting some rejections, but I was so confident that I've done my part. I actually even went to sleep at Gigiri area there the night before the visa interview. I didn't want the village people to create a jam during the day of the embassy. I didn't want anything to come against. So I had an appointment at 11, but 9:30 I was already at the gate, and I was already settled in. When I went there, I met a certain lady. She was applying for a student visa. I had a chat with her. She was telling me how the journey has been hectic for her. I was just giving her like I was telling her like you are even better off. At least you've even done that. This is my very first time. I was like, wow, okay. Then after that we've never met again. But I went in, got my blue slip, got my visa, and then I went to reInvent, which was, I can say up until now, an experience I would wish for anyone. Pauline, if you've never gone for reInvent, please, that whole thing is
One
just
day.
a thing out of, yeah, please, you want you to go there and want you to, when you're there, please organize a podcast with me while I'm here in Kenya and tell us how it is, because I know one day you will.
Amen. 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 Okay, I really love that. And even though the story starts with you applying for the DS even before you apply for the grant itself, I've been reading this book whereby if you have a desire for something, you have like a desire and faith in it, that can actually translate into, a specific action. It will translate into life part of it. And you all started with a desire. You believed you're going there, you're going to reInvent, start applying to it. And even if it took 2 years, 2023 to 2024, it happened. It happened. You did not know how. Maybe
Yeah,
at the time you are here, how you
yeah,
get the US visa, but you'll be like, I'll go.
yes,
And that's all that
yeah,
matters. Oh, that is really nice. So I want to lighten the setting up a little bit while we wrap up.
sure,
So
yeah.
in my journey as a trainer, I have had some embarrassing moments, other funny moments, other times to hit a wall when you think we know what you're doing. So what is a funny, embarrassing story? Anything related to your tech journey that right now you remember of it and you're like, oh God, what did I do?
Okay, I don't know, sometimes for us as gentlemen or men, we actually let embarrassing moments go. We never keep them in our heads. But if I try to remember, okay, embarrassing moment, embarrassing moment. Okay, first of all, let me start with a weird moment that I've just remembered. I got into this
With weird.
event. I'll not mention the name because it's an event that happens every year in Kenya. I'll not mention it, and I don't want the organizers to see this and say yes. I went to this event and I was there, and then it was a cybersecurity event. And I thought that people go there and you get to know new people. Little did I know that there everyone was going with someone. I went alone, like I went alone. So I was there alone. I was seated in this desk. There was a desk that like people are now making presentation. And then the person beside me, they're part of a CTF team together. They were discussing how the last CTF was going and everything. And even this presenter was like in their own world. First of all, like the first session was Android what? Android malware analysis or something. It was super crazy. I was floating better than Titanic in the ocean. It was crazy. But it was after that, like in Swahili we say, you call yourself to a meeting and ask yourself, was that me? Was that me who attended that meeting? What have I gotten? Like you start pitching yourself. But that is when you realize that you love for every rose there's always a thorn. You cannot always attend every event and you find people are jovial and say, hey, who are you? How are you finding the event? Actually, no one even got to ask me like, who are you and everything. I was just given my tag and like, go and attend.
Go sit
I
down
think
where
they
you
even shot
can.
like, yes, go sit where you can. And others were like, hey, you guys, they're high-fiving each other, and you're trying to look for someone who you can do the relation and you couldn't, but it's okay. But I think that is one. But for
Weird.
an embarrassing moment was what? I don't know, in my speaking, in my tech journey. Okay, let me
Let's move
try.
from embarrassing.
Yes, embarrassing is crazy. I don't remember them
Maybe you cannot
because they
find one.
usually go. Yes, yes,
Maybe
yes, definitely.
just a time you hit a wall, like your low point.
Yeah,
You hit a low point in your journey, you flopped, you doubted yourself. Like that moment, and then how did you move on? How did you push through it? I think everyone has one of
awesome.
those moments.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. My lowest moment was when I missed government sponsorship to join campus and do computer science. I missed it by 2 points. I actually met the girl cutoff point, didn't met the boy cutoff point. So if I was a girl, I could have gotten government sponsorship. That was back then when there was girl cutoff points and boy cutoff points to join university. But one thing that really changed and turned it all around was belief, someone having a belief in you. When I went back to home and I was telling my dad, sadly, I'm not going to get to university. It was very hard because my dad had already retired. He could not even support 50,000 shillings or 60,000 in a semester that is required for self-sponsorship. So I felt like my education days are done. It felt like that. It felt like you've hit a wall, nothing else. You have this amazing A in computer studies, but your story ends there. And he told me, Kevin, one day you'll go to the university and you'll be what you want to be. And it was just one statement, and I kept hanging on to it. Every year, I stayed like around 3 years before getting into class. I was doing, but I was not hanging. I was not idle. I was going to high school weekend challenges. I was a dancer. I was actually a very good dancer. I would actually dance my stresses away, and I still do because like dance is therapy for me. And after that, when my sister got an opportunity to go to Chuka University, and then she told my dad, I think I found one of the cheapest computer science courses in the country that is offered here in the university where I'm working. I'm ready. I can take a loan for Kevin, and then Kevin can come and study. And when my dad told me, your sister is saying she's going to take you to university, it was like a relief moment. It was like the walls came crashing down because I'd already given up. I'd already said, okay, let life be, let it flow, let it be how it is. And when I
Yeah.
got there, I had three things. I had three things I wanted to achieve. I wanted to prove the government wrong, that you cannot just say someone is not capable simply because they missed 1 or 2 points. The second thing is I had to prove my dad statement and say, Dad, I'm going to make it. I'm going to live up to the belief that you had in me, that I'm going to one day go and be anything that I want. And thirdly, I was going to do computer science, which was really what I wanted. I was saying like it's either computer science or we just
Yeah.
live in Basel. And the problem, Pauline, we do have in the country as well as in Africa mostly, even whether at the job level or at the studying level, people are studying things they are not passionate about, either because it was chosen for them by their parents or by the government or whichever. At the job level, people are doing jobs that doesn't give them fulfillment. It doesn't make them feel like that they can do it even without pay. They either do it for prestige, maybe because it's a doctor or a lawyer or a pilot or whatever, but their mental health is crazy. It's on the down low. Better still, the people are always doing jobs where they're constantly comparing themselves with their peers. And like, if only I could be like Pauline, if only I could be a podcast host and do all these different awesome things. That is the problem that we do have. But that was my lowest moment, and made me came to a realization, as you mentioned earlier on what you read, is if you have enough faith on something, it will finally, the universe will conspire for that to manifest. It will manifest at
Yeah.
one point in time. Yeah. So when I go back, sometimes like some people see me and say, Kevin, you look like a very young guy driving all around Nairobi and something. And they feel like everything came on a silver platter. Like they feel like, oh, you guy,
Yeah.
you finished. I
Just
even
woke
sometimes
up.
tell someone, yeah, exactly. Like you just got this and it went well. I sometimes tell someone, this is my journey, the way I've just told you, and they get shocked and they be like, wow. And I say, beautiful things take time. And that is why, borrowing from even the Bible, it says, and the Lord will make everything good in their own time. And even like there's a time for everything. So anyone who is listening to these podcasts or even watching it, my advice to you is good things take time, and don't look at people's journey and think that you should live your own and follow theirs because they look more successful.
Just being here and listening to you speak. Thank you so much, Kevin. And yeah, it's been an honor to have you around. I'd actually like to, personally thank you on behalf of the community. Majority of us have benefited from your work, whether if it's just sitting down listening to you and we get encouraged. And I know there are thousands out there, the people you teach who are making great strides in the tech industry. So We really appreciate you and thank you for all the good work, and also thank you for just taking time out of your busy schedule and being here to talk to us today. So I appreciate you and
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for joining
Yes.
in.
And before you let, I actually want to appreciate you too, because your contributions to the space, not only here in Kenya or in the African continent and even globally, your presence, and you might think that you look up to me, but I really look up to you. Sometimes I look at your podcast, I mean your YouTube channel. I look at your there's one day I attended your training and I was like, you made me float. I was like, wow, how did you come up with that whole project? And you're making it look like a breeze. And I was like, okay, I'll go back and humble it for the GitHub repo and try to do it myself. So you are doing an amazing job and keep at it. I love this new thing that you're coming
Interesting.
up with. Keep on with it, and we're ready to support you. Step in a day in, day in, day out, we're there to support you.
Huge thank you to Kevin Tuei for sharing his incredible insights today. I hope this story and our conversation ignites something in you. So to keep this inspiration going on, make sure you are subscribed to my channel, like this video and share it widely. Your engagement really helps us reach more aspiring techies. We are on a mission to empower, so tell us in the comments, what is your biggest tech dream? Who do you think we should feature next? I'll be sharing a form for you to fill out. Until then, let's keep innovating, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode.